Hey y'all, this is AL Thick Madame. So I'm gonna do another story time. And this story time might surprise a few people, but it's something that happened. So I'm just gonna tell y'all it's a little interesting. So at one point in time, I strongly considered dating someone who was very much so into that street life. Yeah. So how that happened, I was on a website and I got a little message. And so I responded to the message. We kept having a lot of back and forth. The dude seemed cool. Oh, well, okay, cool. So eventually we end up meeting up, and it was kind of right outside of the neighborhood that he lived in. Now, if anybody is watching this and they are from Montgomery, I am from the outskirts of Montgomery, and I don't know if this particular area is a part of Cloverdale or not, but you know where Crystals is off the boulevard? It's kind of like diagonally across the street from there. You know, ain't nothing, well, I don't know if they revitalized anything, but there is a neighborhood back there. He lived up in there. So we ended up meeting up over there, and there was this vacant parking lot. A lot of stuff had closed over there, and there usually is some police presence because it is a neighborhood or whatever still. But it seemed like because of the influence that this guy had, he had actually had, okay, wait. I don't know if y'all remember this song, but thinking about how I met him and what was going on at the time, this song reminds me of it, right? Wait. Wait a minute. Don't hit me on my next tail chirp if you're trying to conversate about some work. Y'all, that's exactly what comes to mind when I think about that guy, because he had a phone that had the Nextel chirp feature on it, right? He either had Sprint, Nextel, all, you know, whatever, but it had the chirp feature on there. So what he would do would be, he had guys that worked under him, and he wanted the two of us to have privacy, you know, while we were talking, and he just didn't want cops or whatever to try to roll up out of nowhere. He wanted to know ahead of time if they about to come up or whatever. So what he would do was he would tell them like, hey, let me know if somebody coming, or, you know, they just had some kind of code where I could tell that he was saying like, look, just let me know if the police, you know, coming. So he had people like posted up in various spots, like way before we came into where we were at in that particular part of the parking lot, and further on into the neighborhood where he actually lived, because we actually sat outside of his house at times. And then when we got out of the neighborhood to just be where that parking lot was, that abandoned parking lot that no businesses really were in anymore, we would be out there and just sit outside. Like, it was like springtime, mid to late spring, so it felt good outside. So we would just be outside, sitting on top of our cars, or just sitting inside the car with the windows down and talk, right? Cool. So dude had good conversation. Like, he held my attention. Like, he was actually smart. Not to make it seem like, oh, because you a street dude, you can't be smart. I'm just saying, like, he actually was smart. Like, I was wondering why he wasn't at ASU or somewhere. Like, I was just like, why you at Faulkner, ASU, Troy University? Like, literally somewhere, but in the streets. Y'all, so, you know, it got to a point where we literally, like, spent, like, a whole week together. Anytime after I was done with work and school, we would meet up. He would make time for me. We would literally just talk for hours. And it was cool. You know what I'm saying? He ain't trying to make a move on me. He didn't try me at all. Like, anything he did, he was polite about it. He would ask if he could give me a hug when I would leave, and a hug, you know, when I would get there. You know, we eventually built up to that. Y'all, so it got to a point where he was like, you know, you're a good girl, and, you know, I don't want to taint you because I really, really, really do like you. But I would hate for something to happen to you because you out here in the streets with me, or people know you have an affiliation with me, and then they hurt you. And then I'm going to have to go to jail because they hurt you. Y'all, I was just like, oh, that's so sweet. I don't know what was wrong with me, y'all. I did the most. Y'all, but dude was like, I could not believe how sweet he was. Like, he just seemed like if I wasn't already aware of what he was doing, if I met him at ASU and he was doing that on the side, I would have never guessed, had he, you know, just wouldn't bring it up in normal conversation or something, right? But he was just so sweet. So it just got to a point where he was, you know, he was like, yeah, you know, I don't want to bring any kind of negativity to your doorstep. And, you know, I really, really, really do like you. And, you know, he was just so sweet. So it just got to a point where, you know, he needed to back away because he really was falling for me. I ain't gonna lie, I really liked him, but I was, you know, focused on schoolwork. But I really did like him like that. And I was shocked. I was shocked that I liked him like that. But, you know, that just goes to show you that, you know, everything ain't necessarily gonna be the way you think it's gonna be. So, but yeah, y'all, we hung out. Like I said, had really great conversations. He was just so sweet. But that was never gonna work. And yeah. Kind of within the same vein, so to speak. Y'all, y'all gotta take a deep breath. So basically, I'm combining two videos because with this situation, it was so short. Trying to give y'all at least 15 minutes. So there is another situation that happened where I actually did give the guy a chance. I was dating him. He lived on the Alabama-Georgia line in LaGrange, Alabama. So I met him online. He was into certain things where he worked with his hands. And there are several jobs that are like that, so I'm not even going to mention what it was. But anyway, it was honest work. And, you know, I was like, oh, okay, he working, he cool. Y'all, tell me why. We were dating, got to the point where it was always one-sided. I was the one traveling to see him. I was the one calling him 99% of the time. It was like everything was one-sided. And I started to see that because it already took a lot for me to even say, okay, yeah, I'll, you know, give dating you a chance because you don't live in my city or in a neighboring city. You live over an hour away one way. You know what I'm saying? So then I'm coming to see you. I got to put gas in my car. I don't drive no gas saver. And even if I did, it's still the principle. I'm the only one coming to see you. I'm the only one making the effort. Y'all, then, of course, I should have seen the handwriting on the wall when this was happening. Every time I look up, he was asking for money to pay his little phone bill, his little cell phone bill. Because I had it, I didn't really care like that. Because when I met him, I was halfway, I was social worker. Was I social work when I met him? Yeah, social work. I was deep off into social work just a little bit. You know what I'm saying? So I had money, so that little $30, $40, $50 here didn't mean nothing to me. He asked one time. I was like, oh, okay. You know, for me, the first time when he asked, I felt like, okay, this is my way to let him know that I'm serious and we together. If you need it, I got it. You know, we got it. So I don't know why people do that, you know, including me. I don't know why people do that. But that, for me, that's just something I've always done. I'm like, oh, well, let me prove to them that I'm loyal and that I'm going to be there and I'm in it for the long haul. And I stupidly gave him a couple of dollars here, a couple of dollars there. Lord. Y'all, so. So it just got to a point where I'm just like, wait a minute. Y'all, it got to the point. Every time I look up, only time he knew how to call me was when he wanted some money to pay his phone bill. And then he would lie like he was going to pay it back. So then it got to a point where like, okay, so you lying on top of all this. Like, no, you already ain't calling me. So why you need money for a phone bill? Because he was doing minutes. I'm looking like, why he need money when you ain't talking to me? Where all the minutes going? You ain't talking to nobody at your job. You ain't talking to your boss. So, y'all, red flags everywhere. Y'all, I got tired of it. So I made my one last trip up there dealing with that relationship and met up with him. I told him we needed to meet up. He was all excited about it. To my surprise, I didn't know. I didn't even know he was excited until I got there. Y'all, I done hyped myself up. I'm the type of person I have to hype myself up to go there because I try to make things work out. But this was like gonna be like one of my first times in my life where I was gonna have to tell somebody I was done with them. So that was kind of a lot. And I was really nervous, really, really anxious. I didn't know how I was gonna go. Y'all, so I met him in this really nice park. And we were gonna walk around and y'all tell me why. I was like, well, we need to talk. Y'all tell me why a dude come out of nowhere with a gift box with like this bracelet in it. And I was just like, this is so random. All he's done was take from me. And now he waits until the relationship is over to try to give me a gift or whatever, which I can't be bought. But I'm just saying it's so random out of nowhere. So I was looking at him like, yeah, this is nice, but I still need to talk to you. So I ended up, you know, telling him my piece. I explained the reason behind why I was going to be done. And he was like, even after I gave you this gift? I'm looking at him like, yeah, even after you gave me this gift. Like, the whole relationship has basically been based on, hey, you come over here, you drive all the way over here to the Alabama-Georgia line to see me, and you hand me some money for a phone bill, and you just drive me around. Like, I felt like a fool. I'm sitting up here riding you around in my car. Like, come on now. He didn't even have a vehicle. Like, I had already done that before, and this dude was, like, older. So, like I said, I was a social worker at this point. And it's like, you're my age or a little bit older than me. You ain't got a vehicle. Not that there's anything wrong with it, but I'm just saying it's to the point where he had a job. So I'm like, you live at home with your mama. Another thing, he was living at home with his mama, so there was no reason for him not to have a vehicle. So I was confused about that. Y'all, it was just like nothing is adding up. Like, what? He smokes, right? I'm an asthmatic. So I'm already looking at him sideways when he talking to me, and I already knew he was smoking. So I'm like, well, maybe I can get him to stop, because I was able to get somebody else to stop who I was dealing with. So I had high hopes that I would get him to stop. The most he would do was go out of the room with me most of the time, and would respect the fact that I did not want him to smoke in my car. So I was glad he at least respected that. Y'all, he really thought that I was going to give him another chance, right? And I was just like, I can't do it. I don't see it changing. I really don't think it's going to change. And I'm shocked that I actually stuck to my guns, y'all. Y'all tell me why. I ended up leaving, right? Like, he really kept trying. Y'all, the sun was going down and everything. Like, it was beginning to become nightfall. I was like he really was trying. And I was just like, I can't do it. I can't do it no more. Y'all, so I ended up leaving. I'll never forget this. I stopped at a Sonic on the way, right before I crossed the Alabama-Georgia line. I stopped at a Sonic, and then I left. And as soon as I hit the highway and I crossed over where the little time zone thing is, for those of y'all who know where the Alabama-Georgia line is and you see that time zone thing, you know what I'm talking about, where it switches back to where you're an hour behind where I am now. You're an hour behind. Y'all, when I tell y'all, as soon as I hit that interstate and I crossed that line, I had a deep sigh of relief. And tell me why I had a right to have that deep sigh of relief. Y'all, tell me why less than 2 months later, there's this girl who, ironically enough, she had a crush on my ex, who I told y'all is from Huntsville, right? And she didn't know that he and I were on the low, having a relationship of sorts long before we became official or whatever. Y'all, tell me why this fool was sitting up here trying to talk to her. He said every single thing that he said to me to her online. And so I don't know why, because she and I were not friends like that. She was so excited, and I had went over to her house. She was so excited to be talking to this dude. And I was like, oh, okay. And she randomly said, yeah, he from LaGrange, Alabama. I said, what? When she said that, I was like, oh, no. I was like, what's his name? She said his name. I said, girl, I gave her the rundown. He had already started trying to hit her up for money. Like, he already was doing the most. So apparently this was just his MO. Y'all, tell me why less than a week later, he called my cell phone. And even though I didn't remember what his phone number was anymore, I knew that he liked to have the 404, I think, Georgia area code, that particular Georgia area code, so he could feel cool even though he's from LaGrange, Georgia. Y'all, I mean from LaGrange, Alabama. Y'all, I said, hello. Tell me why this fool had the nerve to try to cuss me out. It was like, don't be trying to be in my business. I was like, what are you talking about? Y'all tried to, you know, kind of halfway play it off. I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. He was like, you trying to be in my business. Why are you telling everybody my business? You need to stay out of my business. Y'all tried to cuss me all of the way out. And I'm looking at him like, but you're the one in the wrong. How are you going to try to roll up on me and go off on me when you were over here trying to scam people? This person is somebody who I am cool with. This is an associate of mine. I knew her before you knew her. So I don't know why you're trying to be mad at me. She mentioned you and where you were from, and I just told her what you did to me. She's grown. She decided to do what she did. So she basically cut off all communication with him because she was excited. She didn't have a vehicle at the time, but she was going to find a way to get up to him. And I was just like, girl, don't do it. Like, he really legit called my phone and, like, tried to cuss me out and then had the nerve to hang up in my face. It's like, sir, if you don't get somewhere, y'all, when he hung that phone up, because we was getting into a full-blown argument. Like, I was outside. I was at home. I was outside in my car, and I was just about to go in the house, and then he called. And, like, I had to go off. I'm talking about in the middle of the night, y'all. This is the country. Like, country. All them animals and stuff. I don't need no coyote in there rolling up on me, about to eat me up because I'm out here getting loud on the phone. I was like, oh my gosh, y'all, I couldn't do nothing. I was mad at first, but then I started laughing because I was like, man, I dodged a bullet because this was a fool. Like, y'all, I can't do it. I can't do it. That's why after that, I just knew I could never do a long distance relationship again. Because I had tried that actually one other time before that. But that situation wasn't that bad because that person actually came to see me like 2 or 3 times. And I enjoyed where they lived. So it didn't matter to me that I had to travel. So I might do a story time about that person because they were kind of a user too. But anyway, yeah. Lesson learned. Couldn't do that anymore, and he was trifling. The other guy, he was just a street guy. I couldn't, you know, get down with that. That wouldn't have probably ended very well for me. Unless he got out of the street life, that would be the only way, and he was not ready to leave. So, I mean, I couldn't stay around hoping that he was going to change. And I was not trying to sit up there and change anyone. So anyway, that's it for the story time, y'all. Hopefully y'all found it entertaining and got y'all a good laugh off of it, because the most happened. Y'all, I've had so many crazy things that happen to me, whether I met the person online or not. But anyway, y'all have a good night, and I'll see y'all next time. Bye.